Well, thank you all for coming and staying. I'm completely blinded by these lights, but I love you all. I love Students for Liberty. Now, I don't love it collectively because I don't like that word very much. I don't believe in the general will. This is Rousseau's evil notion that your individual choices and your peculiarities and your desires and whom you love and so on can all be made consistent with the state's enforcement of a general will. And this idea has haunted us since the 18th century. It's the spring of European socialism and fascism, both. And this idea that the collective is superior to you. And it ain't. It's not. When I was your age, I was a Marxist. I was a socialist. I'm very old. I'm 81 years old. So, there you are. And if you do the math, you'll see that it was in the 1960s that I was your age. And to be progressive, to be wanting to help the poor, wanting to change the world in a way that was desirable, like freeing black people and colonial people and so on from oppression. It seemed very simple. You became a Marxist. You became a student of historical materialism. I didn't ever join the party, but that was the idea. And it took me a long time to get over that. It's in fact a quite common 20th century biography for people to start on the left and end up, well, sometimes on the right. But I don't think that what we do here is on the right. I don't think we're right-wing. I don't think we're conservative. I have friends who are conservative. I have friends still on the left. But we're liberals. We float above. We have a sort of a treehouse over the left-right spectrum. I think there are basically two ways that people become libertarians or liberals. Either they read Marx when they're 18, or they read Ayn Rand when they're 18. And I didn't read Ayn Rand. I went the Marx way. But I don't think 18 years old is a good time to choose your lifetime anything. Your lifetime partner, your lifetime occupation, your lifetime politics, honestly. In my own case, it's not even a good time to choose your lifetime gender. I waited until I was 53 and had been married for 30 years. But we liberals, this position that both routes come to, are very simple-minded in a way. We don't have some complicated conservative or progressive theory of history. We have a very simple set of principles. The most important principle that I would emphasize for you is equality. Now, usually our friends on the left are the ones who claim the equality word. Either think of a race. I was a jogger once for a long time, and I used to race sometimes, but I would always come in last, so it was somewhat unhappy. But anyway, you race in a race, And as Ecclesiastes, the very strange last book in the Hebrew Bible, says, the battle is not always to the strong, nor the race to the swift, for time and chance happen to all. Now, the counter-narrative in socialism, from the left and Marxism, is that we'll make you equal at the finish line. This is equality of outcome. And it's a deep and attractive prospect. We all come from families. And in a family, we're indignant if the children, at least, are not all treated equally. The Cinderella problem, right? You want equality of outcome, say in how much you get to eat, in a family. And we say, well, let's make the society like a family and have equality at the finish line. A more common version of this is equality of opportunity. For a long time, I, like all other sort of nice people who want other people to prosper, believed that we should try to achieve equality of opportunity. But the trouble is that if you give that 2 minutes of serious thought, it took me four decades to actually do the 2 minutes, but if you give it 2 minutes of serious thought, you see that equality of opportunity is unattainable. Now, we know what's wrong with the economics of equality of outcome. It results in everyone starving. If you don't use incentives in the economy to get people to offer and to make exchanges with each other, because you're all going to have the same income at the end. So if you're a brain surgeon or a street sweeper, you get the same income. That's not going to work well. And then you think, well, no, equality of opportunity will get people all at the same starting point. But apply the 2 minutes of thought. And you notice that some people are smarter than I am. A considerable percentage of this audience is. Some percentage of the women here are more beautiful than I am. Well, not too many, I admit. No one here is older than I am. I was born in the United States. Someone else is born in South Sudan. I chose my parents very carefully. I deserve tremendous credit, I think, don't you? That I should get higher income than most of you because I chose a father who was a Harvard professor and a mother who was an opera singer. Now you can see that that's much better than your parents. So I should earn more than you do. But the point of the joke is that you can't achieve equality of opportunity. There's no amount of monetary compensation that can make it equal starting line for someone born in South Sudan and someone born in Chicago. It's impractical. You can't do it. Now look, I'm not against financing, having you and me taxed to pay for poor people to go to elementary school. I'm willing to do that, and I'm willing to make some gestures in this way of equal opportunity. Certainly equal opportunity between men and women, but again, that too can't be achieved, as my student Claudia Golden, who just got the Nobel Prize in economics, says, entirely, because we're different. And that, dears, as you know, and many of your colleagues don't know, is a good thing. when people talk about diversity, they sometimes mean only black, white, or something simple like that. But actually, diversity really is a good thing. As an economist, diversity is the basis for trade. As an intellectual, as a writer, diversity is the basis for conversation. In a marriage, diversity is a basis for love. So there's nothing wrong with us being different. We don't have to all start at the same starting line over here for a good society. So what do I mean when I say that the core of liberalism is equality? I mean equality of permission. That should be our mantra. Equality of permission. Get the hooks and chairs out of people's way. And I can name the hooks and chairs endlessly. I work now at the Cato Institute, and we specialize in pointing out hooks and chairs in the way of people doing well. Here's one that you've heard a lot on the news. High drug prices in the United States. Why are there high drug prices in the United States? Well, I'll tell you why. One street away from here, two streets, is K Street. And on K Street, proverbially and notoriously and actually, are lobbying firms hired by, say, the drug companies to make it illegal for anyone here to buy their prescription drugs or any other kind of drug in Canada or Mexico. It's against the law. My aged mother, who died at 98 a few years ago, started to try to get her very expensive drugs from Canada. And, it's as though the thugs from the government came to this old lady and said, "We'll put you in jail, dear, if you keep doing it." That sort of thing happened to her. Now, how do you get why are the drug prices high? Because the K Street lobbyists for the drug companies make sure you have to buy your drugs in the United States. This means that the drug companies can charge, now hear this is actually the case, 5 to 10 times more to you as Americans than to you as Canadians or French people or Brazilians. Why? So, how to get the hooks and chairs out of the way? Tomorrow, Congress and the President could abolish this, could set the tariff at 0. And suddenly there would be no longer any problem of very expensive drugs in the United States. The drug companies will say, we need Americans to pay for research. Well, that's nice. We pay for research for the world is kind of the theory. But it's not even true because they actually spend most of that money they earn on marketing, on sending doctors to fancy vacations in Hawaii. So the hooks and chairs are the problem. I'll give you one more case, but there are thousands of them. Well, here's one. This is an interesting one. They're all interesting. In the 1920s, there were passed in the United States at the federal and state level laws to protect women who were married women were beginning to enter the labor force. Now, if you're very poor, you work as a woman in the labor force. And, you work as a maid or as a housekeeper. I mean, come on, that's what you do. But if you're what was happening was that not so poor women were entering the labor force, and the impulse was to protect them. Protection is almost always a hook or a chair, preventing something from you doing something that you want to do. And you'd say, well, for instance, women couldn't work more than 40 hours a week. You say, well, that's good. I mean, that's a good thing. What, don't you want to help women? No, it's not a good thing. Because if you're going to be a supervisor in a little hamburger joint, you've got to work more than anyone else. You've got to come earlier and leave later. You're the boss. If you're going to have a career of any sort or any kind of economic success, you've got to be able to work more hours. So this protective legislation ended up screwing women. And so it goes over and over and over again. So equality of permission is really the key idea of our movement. The liberty movement since 1776 that you all are going to carry on. I'm astonished at the success of your organization. It's in its short history, it's not very old, it's brought many young people into understanding the very simple principles of a free society. It's a society in which societies of adults respect each other's equality of permission. Now, I said adults. Crucial point here. As I said before, we all grow up in families. Families are totalitarian, egalitarian. They're little states, aren't they? Mommy and daddy make the decisions. And if they're nice and they have lots of children, the children are treated equally. So that's the kind of society, and I'm in favor of it. As I told you, I had a good, loving family. I hope the same was true for you individually. So here's the problem. We take this institution, which we all love and admire and should, and is necessary for any kind of society, the family. And we say, well, now look, let's make the big society into a little family. Hey, we'll just keep being family for our whole lives. And what's wrong with that? That sounds all right. Sounds like a great thing. No, it's not. Because that means you're a child all your life. Or you might be one of the few who's chosen to be the daddy or the mommy, bossing the children around all your life. The analogy with the family is the basis, for example, of nationalism. We were talking at dinner, group of liberals, and we were confessing what our deepest illiberal sin was. The position that we had, which was not consistent with a free society, and I admitted that people of my age, it's often nationalism, being proud of being an American, as though it wasn't a good thing to be anything else. And that's terrible, but that's how we were educated. And the problem is that nationalism is the idea we're going to make this family with der Führer, il Duce, the symbolic daddy at the head. And that's the formula for fascism. It's also the formula for central planning socialism. It's also it's a rampant metaphor. But look, the kind of society you and I want is a society in which we all grow up. We're in families, that's good, we got to have those, that's wonderful. And then we leave the families and start our own little families. And in the meantime, at your age especially, We have equal friends. We have egalitarianism among friends. And then we grow to adulthood. We start taking responsibilities. This sounds like an old person's rant. Take responsibility, you young people. Come on, shape up. No, that's not quite what I mean. It just means you want to be an adult. Every young person wants to be what she can be. And what you can be as an adult should be your choice, not the choice of the state or your parents or anyone else. So that's the point. Liberalism, then, is adultism. That's what it should be called. Because all the other political philosophies, the nice ones like being a sweet left-wing, leftish, not too far, Democrat, the nasty ones like being a Trumpian, the really nasty ones like being an out-and-out fascist, the equally nasty ones of being a convinced Marxist. All those treat people as children. One more word here. I've told you about equality of permission. I've told you about the family metaphor. I've told you about adultism. One more word is, I've forgotten it. Let's see, I have forgotten it actually. Let's see. Well, look, what happens when you apply equality of permission and you become adults is that everyone respects everyone, peace breaks out. You know, a lot of modern politics, especially these days, is based on hatred. I suppose I could use, here's the final word. The word is love. Our political philosophy is the philosophy of love, not hate. I just finished a book on theology and economics. I'm a Christian, I'm an Episcopalian, and most of my libertarian friends are appalled by this. They're all atheists, but that's okay. I still love them. But the point is that Christianity and liberalism can go together. Because the basic idea in Christianity, which was so shocking to the pagan world, is to focus on love. Loving even your enemies. Even that cousin of yours like mine who's a Trumpian. So in short, we've got the best set of cards. We've got the best arguments. We've got the best emotions. We should succeed in this. It's happened before. The world became more liberal after the invention of liberalism in the 1700s. It can happen again. You do it, kids. Thank you.